Hello, welcome back. Season 6 of ALR. This is the fourth game that ALR will be racing on. We've done 2018, 2019, and 2020. Now it's time for Formula 1 2021. I have Alex alongside me as well to do all four draws, and that says ALR Gold, Silver, Bronze, and Cobalt. And we're going to start things off with Cobalt right now then. And of course, we will be showing the stats and things like that. And up first then, it is Brooksy, who has been, I think he's going to be a favourite going into Cobalt. Alex, welcome along then. I got to say, I'm looking forward to Cobalt Season 2. This is the first season that we're going to have 20 plus races, hopefully, even though the calendar's up in the air. How are you looking forward to Cobalt this season?
Yeah, I think Cobalt's going to be cracking on from where it left off. I think we only had 11 races in Cobalt and Bronze, of course, last season. Pretty disappointing, unfortunately. We couldn't get everybody in earlier to get the calendar going, but Cobalt with a really good lineup and a fantastic season under its belt, even though a short season. I think improvements in the 11 races we had in Season 1 were massive. So Season 2, I think it's going to be an absolute banger.
It really is indeed. We're just seeing Dukanko, or Duncan as I used to call him, and he's going to be up there for one phase. I reckon he's going to get a win this season. Many Things also steps up to a full-time seat as well. And he's only had 4 career starts in Cobalt. He did race in that epic race in Russia, didn't he? A great debut that was. Picasso also on the list as well. Then, of course, this is a very unusual place for sat at the moment. Alex, is the fact that we don't know what the calendar is. Then it feels like Formula 1 2020, doesn't it? From before the pandemic started, where we had no rough idea where it was going to be 8 races, 18 races, all that kind of stuff. We do know there's going to be at least 20 races on the ALR calendar. Could you shed any more light on the calendar at the moment?
Yeah, pretty much. We know that we'll be starting with Bahrain. That will definitely be the first race of the calendar. So just so that everyone knows, we can start preparing and get some practice sessions under our belt for Bahrain as the first ALR race of Season 6. But in terms of the rest of the calendar, like you said, it's a bit up in the air. Still trying to sort out what's going on with the calendar and where we're going to be placing races and things like that. And of course, waiting for the new game, waiting for the new updates from the game with the new tracks, etc., and things like that. So potentially looking at a shorter season in the first season of the game, and then next season, starting in January, which will be Season 7, we'll be looking to make it a much drawn out, longer season, much more exciting season as well. So yeah, plenty of things still to come.
It really did. I'm very much looking forward to that as well. How difficult is it to plan a championship charge? Remember that at the beginning last season for Gold, you was very much in the championship hunt. How difficult is it to plan for the challenge ahead, not knowing where you're going to be and things like that?
You've got to take it as each race as it comes, as they do in real life, real F1. You can't do anything about the future races. You can't think about the future races until you've got the current race out of the way. So yeah, making sure that you practice. There's plenty of practice sessions going on. Of course, if you want to open a practice session, you can go for it as well in the Discord. But yeah, making sure you practice, get some time in on the track before the race day, and just doing as much as you can to make sure that your performance is going to be as best as it can be on the time, or by the time we get to the track. It's not going to be easy, of course, with the calendar being so sort of difficult to plan as it is at the moment. But like I said, we do know that Bahrain's going to be the first race, so you can start practicing for that one, of course. But yeah, we'll try and keep it as simple as we can for future races as well, making sure that everyone's got time to plan ahead and get practicing. But in terms of an actual sort of championship plan, strategy for the championship, nothing much you can do apart from take every race as it comes.
Oh, goodness me, that is definitely very much wise words as well. And going into 2021, if you had chance to play with the cars yet, how different is it compared to last year's cars? Is there any difference at all?
Only a few differences, I think. Obviously, the downforce side of things, which we knew was going to be changed, has come into effect. So we're seeing the wings a lot higher than the previous game. So it just makes it a bit more interesting in terms of getting the setups ready, getting the setups right. But I think it's a bit more challenging for the drivers in that sense, and making sure that you get the right specs for the car set up for the race day, not just the qualifying. But yeah, I think overall, graphically and performance-wise, I think they've got the cars almost set up right. I believe there's more information coming soon on the pace of the cars, because they are meant to be a bit slower than 2020, but we shall see what happens with that as well.
Yeah, no, I've got to say, I must admit, I can't really give my viewpoint because, unfortunately, I struggle to even stay on the track then. But yes, it's a very rewarding game. I've quite enjoyed it, really. Just going to COBALT then as well, as we are just looking through the stats right now. Going into this season as well, I've already mentioned that Brooksy then, of course, he has the most career points of anyone in this draw for COBALT with 90 points so far. He's also had 2 Grand Prix wins as well, 5 pole positions, and the most in COBALT history. Hammer Time, we've just seen him flash up there as well. He is the second most successful driver on the COBALT grid this season, so expected those 2 drivers then to really mount a challenge then. Sir Dave and Booty Delights have come down from bronze and gone into the COBALT draw as well, so good luck to both those drivers. They really did struggle last season. Styles unfortunately also had a couple of issues last season as well for COBALT. I think he ended his he was in the Haas team, which unfortunately ended on -2 points, so he needs hopefully a Haas team can turn that around, and hopefully Styles can have a cleaner season. Really, so yeah, fingers crossed for all the drivers then in this driver draw as well. Just got Jinner come up, and he was on the front row, wasn't he, in the Russian Grand Prix? But unfortunately, him and his teammate came to blows, didn't they? We're almost at the end of the stats then. So Alex, then who is your money on then for COBALT this season?
Like you said earlier, I like the look of Brooksy and Hammer Time carrying on their form from the end of last season. They were both very close to actually getting a promotion spot in the top 3 to get into bronze for this season, but just missed out. My tip for COBALT this season is going to be Starburst. Bit under the radar, very consistent driver as well. And I believe finished just outside the top 3 as well. He finished 4th in the championship overall last season, and like I said, was very clean, very consistent. Went a bit hidden sometimes, but I think he's going to pull it off and finish in the top 3, maybe even get the championship win.
You know, that's a very good point, actually. I got to say, Starburst at the beginning was absolutely magnificent, wasn't he? So we've got our Wheel of Fortune then, standard stuff like last year. Of course, we have 10 teams on the wheel, and what team's coming out first? It is the Haas team. Then is the first team. They got a new livery this year, haven't they? A bit controversial, wasn't it, when it first came out? And so, who is going to be the first driver then to drive to be picked out of the hat then for ALR this season? And it is it going to be one of Alex's favourites? That's close, isn't it? But it's Iron Knight then, who is the first driver then out of the hat, or out of the wheel, we should say. As we spin the wheel around again then, who is going to be Iron Knight's teammate, which will be driving in the Haas car for this season. And it is going to be Righty, who was in the McLaren team at last season. Alex, what did you make of that first team then, coming out of the hat then?
I think that's a pretty pacey lineup, that is. I think Iron Knight, of course, put in some good performances last season, and Righty was there or thereabouts and scoring some good points for the McLaren team, like you said. So a very, very good lineup for Team Haas in COBALT Season 2.
That is a great team indeed. I think that's going to be a team very much on the up then. Remember, Haas finished off last season in negative points then. Second team then out of the hat then, even though it's a wheel, isn't it? I need to call it a wheel, don't I? It's the Williams team, and of course another team with a new look. I really like the Williams look. I think it's a bit old school, isn't it, the Williams look this season? So which driver is going to be driving for the Williams Mercedes team at this season? And the driver is Many Things then, who is of course, as we already mentioned then, of course, he is stepping up to a full-time seat this season then. So Many Things then is the first driver then off the wheel then. Who is going to be Many Things' teammate then as the wheel stops? And it is Picasso. Picasso had a very difficult start to life in COBALT, didn't he? But of course, he just really got up to speed then. Alex, your take?
Again, Picasso is one of the drivers that's coming through the ranks. Started off pretty badly, like you said, in season 1, but he's really picked up his pace, so looking forward to see what he can do. And Many Things, bit of a wild card, because of course was only a reserve last season, but I think will add to the Williams lineup and make it a strong lineup.
Indeed, of course, Picasso finished 13th in the World Championship last season. I'm expecting top 10 this season for Picasso. The Mercedes team is out next. Then, of course, Mercedes in the real world of Formula 1 is very much the team to beat, isn't it? But that's not the case in COBALT. Of course, COBALT, the team that won the constructors last season, is no longer a part of COBALT, which is the Racing Point team, wasn't it? First driver out of the hat then, as it slows down, it is ZGSN. A bit of the opposite story for ZGSN, as he had a very good start to his life in COBALT, but tipped off towards the end of last season. So a bit of consistency then from ZGS and of course Picasso as well. Who is going to be ZGS's teammate? It is Buckass then, and I believe that this is also going to be Buckass's. I think he's stepping up then to a full-time seat as well, if I'm not very much mistaken. So good stuff indeed then for Buckass then. He is driving in the Mercedes team then. Strong lineup, Alex.
Yeah, I think ZGS, like I said, can build on what his performances were from last season, and Buckass did reserve in a few leagues. I think it wasn't just COBALT last season, so we'll be looking to get his head down and get some good points from Mercedes.
Indeed. Next out of the hat is the Ferrari team. Now, of course, they got such a rich history in Formula One, haven't they? Not too. I think in ALR, we seem to have a vendetta against the Ferrari team, don't they? Is that they've got a really poor ratio in ALR across all four divisions. Yeah. Out of the hat then is Kaz, who is actually remaining with the Ferrari team. Then, so Kaz very much remaining in the Ferrari team then for next season. Of course, he is participating. He's had 10 races, hasn't he, in COBALT so far, and finished in a strong 12th position in the World Championship last season. A great drive in Singapore, if I remember correctly. And Cosmo, who is making the jump from the Red Bull to the red car, he is going to the Ferrari team then. So I think that those two drivers have got something to prove.
I agree with you. I think both had difficult seasons last season in the first season of COBALT, but I think developing on the new game and developing on their driving, I think they'll be able to get some good points and head into the top 10 for season 2.
Indeed, then, and then we're just now going on to the McLaren team. Next, McLaren have got a new power unit this season, haven't they? Now the McLaren Mercedes. It just sounds right, doesn't it? McLaren Renault just didn't sit well with me, but that's because I'm a bit old, anyway, and I've got to say I do like tradition. So who is going to be in that gorgeous McLaren? And I think it's papaya, isn't it? Is the official colour of McLaren. I'm a simple man. I call it orange. Scooby Stew, then, who was the Mercedes driver last season, he has gone to the McLaren team. Then I think he'd be very happy with that. So who is going to be Scooby Stew's teammate then? Scooby Stew scored 20 points in his maiden season, then just outside the top 10, and alongside him it is going to be Smithy Almighty. He only did 3 races. Smithy Almighty did in COBALT last season. He made the jump from bronze to COBALT. I think that Smithy did show some very strong pace in the opening race that he did with COBALT. I'm liking that lineup there, Alex.
Yeah, good lineup from McLaren. I think they'll do well. The two S's driving for the papaya, as you said, team. So yeah, looking forward to Team McLaren in COBALT season 2.
And up next then, it is the Red Bull team. Then, of course, Red Bull Honda. They have dropped the Aston Martin name, haven't they? And there's 2 names that the 2 new teams haven't been drawn yet, have they? I'm really interested to see who's going to be driving in one of those 2 new teams then. But this is the Red Bull first, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to slow down. And first driver out the hat, it is Winnie, as we do land on Winnie. Winnie, of course, who had a 14th position in the driver's standings last season, 10 points to his name in 9 starts. His best finish was 7th. So he's hoping to build on that from last season as well. And Styles, then, who I feel that he did struggle, didn't he? Some through parts of last season, but I got to say he is definitely a capable driver, and he will hopefully be scoring some more points on the board then, as he finished 17th in the standings last season. And I think that again, similar to the team we just drew out the hat, then 2 drivers that really got something to prove, Alex.
Yeah, didn't have a great season, either of them in season 1, so looking to improve in season 2 and bounce back.
And then flying up through the AlphaTauri. They have reverted their colours, haven't they? No, not reverted. I think it's inverted, isn't it? Goodness me, I need to get out my dictionary, don't I? AlphaTauri then is out of the hat then. And who is going to be driving the beautiful, it's dark blue, isn't it? I need to get my colour chart out. Booty Delight then, who is making his debut with the COBALT gang in Bahrain in a week's time. Booty Delight was driving the AlphaTauri last season. Finished 18th in the World Championship in bronze, which is why he has been relegated to COBALT. Hammer Time then, I've got to say I'm expecting big things from Hammer Time at this season. He is good. He's definitely on my list of drivers, and this could potentially be a champion. And 4 podiums last season and 1 Grand Prix win as well. Then a quick mention on Hammer Time then, Alex. And I do not want to give him the commentator's curse, but I think I already have then. But Hammer Time, you think he's going to be up there?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do in season 2. I think he'll be definitely up there for a shout, and I think Booty Delight can make some improvements there as well.
Indeed. Alfa Romeo is out next, and we've got the two new teams as last then. So Alfa Romeo is next then. Of course, it's a legendary name, isn't it, in motor racing then. Who is going to be the two legendary names of driving that Alfa Romeo? Remember, Alfa Romeo finished second in the Constructors last season. Brooksy, as Knowlesy said a minute ago, was just outside the top three, and he is the favourite if we're going on last season's form. So Brooksy is driving in the Alfa Romeo team then. Who is going to be driving alongside him? Goodness gracious me, I think it's Ducanco. It is Ducanco. I apologise, I keep butchering his name, and he really must. He's going to dislike me, isn't he, at the end of the season? Wow, I think that's my favourite for the Constructors.
Rapid lineup, and like you said, Alfa Romeo Constructors winners, well, some Constructors second place, I should say, in season 1. So yeah, probably going to be up there again for season 2.
I think that's the only team that has two drivers with podium experience on the COBALT grid then, and I'm looking forward. I love stuff like that because it really balances it out so far anyway. And I think actually that mathematically, I think that's actually going to be the case as well, because not many drivers have been on the podium so far. And just spinning the wheel then, as now who's going to be the first driver out the hat? It is going to be Jinner driving the beautiful Aston Martin car. So Jinner must be, well, it depends if he likes Aston Martin or not, but I must say I'm quite envious of that. Who is going to be Jinner's teammate then? And as we spin the wheel again, then there's still a big name on the wheel. Oh goodness me! And that is the big name that's come out. It is Starbus. Then, of course, very unlucky as we mentioned in the build-up to this to the Wheel of Fortune. Starbus then driving in the Aston Martin cars there, Alex.
Again, with Alfa Romeo, I think that could be another favourite for the championship. Jinner there needs to be a bit more consistent, but I think Starbust's form can help pull their team forward as well. So just a bit more build up from Jinner, and a bit more sort of finesse from Starbust, and I think you're looking at a championship winner there potentially as well.
Indeed, I think I've counted my chickens before they've hatched, really, haven't I? Because there's me going Alfa Romeo is going to my favourite for the Constructors. That possibly may not be the case anymore with Aston Martin team, man. Alpine, the last team to come out the hat, formerly known as the Renault team, they had a very good season last season. They were the first ever joint Constructors World Champions in ALR history. We spin the wheel. We know the two drivers, but I quite like the wheel, so we're going to keep spinning it. Sir Dave, then, who is dropped from bronze to COBALT. He finished 19th in the championship in a bronze last season, and Liam D, who of course who had 7 starts last season with 7 points, and he finished 16th for the championship, and hoping for a bit of an improvement, and 1 DNF to his name as well. So Liam D definitely does get the does do very well in terms of the consistency as well. So those are the 10 teams, Alex. Then my goodness me, then who has really caught your eye? Then I think that Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo team are the two teams that have really getting me salivating at the mouth there.
Yeah, I think those two teams are probably up there for the favourites. I think the lineups there are very strong, but we'll have to see. I think maybe Haas with Iron Knight and Wrighty could be there as well as ZGS maybe as well, and Bacchus, but in the Mercedes. But I think all 10 teams there have got the potential and have got good racing craft, good ability as well to put on a good show and to put on a fantastic season for season 2.
Indeed, I'm looking forward to that then. And COBALT, then that's the first ever driver draw for COBALT. Then, of course, last season they was able to pit their cars. And so this season it's a bit more fair, isn't it? Then next, then we come to bronze, and this is the 4th season of bronze. And bronze have had only one full season in their history, which is back in season 2. Apart from that, they've had 9 Grand Prix in their first year. I think it was 9, wasn't it? And they had 11 last season as well. Then so bronze then in their second full year, their 4th season overall. YBR then a seasoned veteran in silver. This would be the first time he would drive in the bronze world championship. Chappie, of course, he only had 6 starts last season, but he's back in it with his best race of 5th position. And Jamie Allwright then, of course, I think he finished the season very strong as well. 2 Grand Prix wins then. Alex, then could we get your intake, your expert racer instinct then about who you think is going to be up there for the championship, going for the championship and promotion?
I'm looking forward to bronze season 4 because I think it's going to be a very difficult championship to tell, and I think it'll be very close all the way through. I think it's going to be even closer than it was last season, even though it was a short season last season. So yeah, really looking forward to these guys, and I will not be able to pick a winner or pick a name out of the hat really at the moment, because I think it's going to be really close. Looking forward to getting all these guys racing again in season 4. I think everybody who's still in bronze from last season put on a fantastic show. I was being the admin for season 3 for bronze was a highlight, because it was such a good season, and yeah, really enjoyed spectating it really, and being a part of it. So looking forward to what these guys can offer in season 4. I think it's just going to kick on and go even further and even better than season 3.
And we just seen a flash of Roscoe, who is, I believe, who's one of the most successful drivers in bronze now, isn't he? Roscoe is, and you've seen his stats then just flash up there. So he's a very strong contender as well. He's 5th in the World Championship last season with 27 starts and 127 points to his name. He's had 1 Grand Prix win and 2 podiums as well. But it's Jamie Allwright then who's the most successful outright then with 2 Grand Prix wins. Everyone else has only had 1 Grand Prix win between them then. So Roscoe's got 1, Theo has got 1 as well, Diashi has got 1 with Camera Racer and Crystal Maze as well. Ayrton then, who of course drove in bronze before, didn't he, before he made the step up to silver then. Ayrton, one of a few drivers that have come down from silver. The other driver is Baz and Billet then. Talking about the drivers that have come down from silver, Alex, then who are you keeping your eye out for? I'm sure the drivers that come down from silver, are they just going to bounce back?
I'm looking at all 3 of them, thinking that there's potential to do that, definitely. I think the silver season, last season, the relegation area was so close, and any of them could have stayed up even on the last race, I think, potentially. So it was just down to luck and a few things not going their way, rather, in the whole season of season 2 to season 3 for silver. But I think they've so they probably were actually unlucky to be relegated really, and so I see some good potential in all 3 of them to get some good points under their belt, get some wins even potentially, and even bounce back and get back into that top 3, back to silver as well.
Indeed, and remember, Ayrton won that historic Italian Grand Prix in one of the most epic races you'll ever see. But unfortunately, Ayrton does have the unfortunate distinction of the first driver in ALR history to get a win and also be relegated in the same season, which he's not going to appreciate me saying that, but I do have a good stat. But there we go. But I think that he will kick on and be a strong contender in bronze then for this season, as we are just taking it along then. Swan Shanks then, who's making a return to a full-time seat, because unfortunately had to bow out, didn't he, halfway through last season in bronze, which is a shame, because I felt he had so much potential, and it just unfortunately just couldn't get the rub of the green in the early stages there for Swan Shanks.
I think, like I said, it was just a bit of, like I said earlier, it was a bit of unlucky positioning in the race, that's all, and it just the races themselves didn't come to him. I think based on this on this game, I think he's going to thrive. I think he'll have the potential to do really well in this season, and I think just because of other commitments, I believe he couldn't carry on racing in after the first few races of season 3. So we'll be excited to see him back. Of course, Lewis Williams again there returning as well. So there's a few drivers who did take part in season 3 who are returning and were key members of the grid before they actually had to leave. So looking forward to getting those guys back, and it will create, like I said before, much closer grid, a familiar grid as well. So it'll be some good racing, I think.
And talk about the drivers that are coming up from COBALT. One of them is just flashed up now with Irvine. We've also got the first ever COBALT World Champion in the forms of You Mad Bro, and the third and final one. I'm going to Darmy Hill now, I know. Oh, it's Joseph as well, the third and final one. How could I forget? Who are you thinking is going to really break the glass ceiling in bronze then, out of those 3 drivers?
Well, they all did really well in COBALT season 1 to get promoted first off, and I think I'm gonna go with an outside shot. Even though he's a great driver, I'm gonna go for Joseph, and I think he's got the racing craft, the ability, and I think he thinks like a racing driver. He plans what he's doing in his races, so I'm looking to see Joseph doing well and potentially even getting into the top 3 and getting promoted even further.
And that's a very good shout, actually. I remember the Japanese Grand Prix. He had a bit of a tough time in the Japanese Grand Prix, and yet he still come to finish some very strong points as well. Of course, that was the super team of him and Irvine, wasn't it, who claimed the Constructors' Championship for the Racing Point team. Of course, unfortunately not racing for us this year. I'm going to miss that pink car on the grid then, but of course that's been replaced with the beautiful Aston Martin. There's you, mad bro, the first ever COBALT World Champion, and of course there is Alex's pick then for this season as well. And I must say that's a very safe bet. If it does go wrong, no, it's Alex's fault, not me. So I'm going to be sitting on the fence because, yeah, unfortunately the drivers have had enough of me when I do my predictions anyway. But as we're just about coming to the end then of all the driver stats and things like that, really, like I said, that's such an incredible grid, isn't it? It's a brave man to even predict who's going to get promoted and who's going to get relegated. First team out of the hat, it is that's the Haas team again. Oh goodness me, then it's the American-based Haas team. You will be forgiven for thinking it was maybe from a different country. Who is going to be first off the wheel then? As we spin that wheel, I've got to say I get very mesmerised. I watch this, but I do get so excited as well. First driver out of the hat then, it is Jamie Allwright then, or Enright I should say, actually, not Allwright. He is the most successful driver in terms of wins on the grid. 2 Grand Prix wins. He's finished off the season so well, winning those 2 very impressive Grand Prix in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. We got RDW, who of course, I think he had an up and down season last season, but when he showed flashes of brilliance, didn't he, RDW? And that is the first team out of the hat, Alex.
Yeah, I think Jamie, like I said, is going to be up there as well. He's got the pace, as he's shown in the last season as well. The final few races as well, he wins what came to light. And I think RDW needs to get a few more consistent races, get some points under his belt, and the confidence will come back.
Yeah, I think RDW in 2019, I'm sure he was a very capable driver, and you do not lose your skill overnight, do you, in this business? So I think that RDW there just needs to get a good rub of the green then. Alpine is the second car at the hat then, and I think that there's going to be a lot of drivers going to be very interested to have this car. I'm definitely would be one of those drivers, and Alpine or Aston Martin, I do love a new car. Who's going to be out of the hat next? It is Cryptic Alibi. Cryptic Alibi, I think he finished season 9th in the end, and which I think that might have been a bit. I'm going to get Alex's take in a minute, but I thought he would have been a bit higher than that then. But he did have problems in qualifying. Who is going to be next off the wheel? It is going to be Baz then, who had a bit of a nightmare season last season, didn't he? He was one of the drivers that have been dropped from silver into bronze. Then that team there is just come out of the hat then. Cryptic and Baz then, Alex, there's 2 drivers then that have got a lot to aim for this season.
I think you're going to look at Alpine as a few driver of the days in that one from both of them. I think Baz, like I said, has got room to improve, but he did have a bit of a difficult season last season, so we'll probably look to bounce back, and Cryptic's got the pace, so we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, indeed. Then, of course, Cryptic did have a couple of instances where he had issues in qualifying. So we just got the Aston Martin team as the next out of the wheel as well. Goodness me, 2 new teams in a row. Love it. So who is going to be driving the beautiful British Racing Green then? Must say then, it just feels right, doesn't it? Oh, and it's Joseph, and of course, as is the first driver then off the grid, off the wheel, I should say. And I think that he's going to be very happy with that. Then, of course, that he's basically with the same team, isn't it? They are technically the same team, but just a different name on the door. Who is going to be his teammate as we slow it down? Oh, goodness me. Yes, it is you, mad bro, who is the COBALT World Champion. And the drivers who finished first and third in COBALT last season, Joseph won half of the Constructors' Championship as well. Wow, Alex, that's my pick.
What a team, yeah. Aston Martin looking strong in bronze, season 4. Yeah, Joseph, like I said, is one of my favourites. He's a clean and consistent driver, and Bro showing he's got the pace with the win for season 1 in total. So, yeah, looking forward to that as well.
I've got to say, as the competition, I'll be quite concerned by that team. Yes, they've coming up from COBALT, but COBALT is not a slouch of a league by any stretch of the imagination. And some of the drivers, both you, Madbro, and Joseph made was absolutely impeccable, wasn't it? Driver of the season for me was you, Madbro, in the Hungarian Grand Prix, which I'll probably be mentioning quite a lot. Then next off the wheel, then it is a Chappie. Then so Chappie there, who's just been selected. Then and who is going to be his teammate? Then as we spin that wheel once again then. So, of course, Chappie, who only had 6 good starts last season, didn't he? But he makes a step up to a full-time seat this season. I think it was full-time towards the end of last season, actually, if I'm not very much mistaken. He finished 15th in the World Championship. YBR, who, of course, there, as we mentioned in the stats then, who is going to be, this is completely new bronzes, but he was a very quick and capable driver in silver as well. I got to say, Alex, that is going to be a very strong midfield outfit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what these two drivers can do for Team Williams, and I believe they'll be consistent drivers and bring the points in.
Indeed, I think that Williams there, who finished third in the joint constructors overall last season, the joint constructors is coming back for a second season in a row. Of course, that was Dan Murphy's idea, wasn't it? So good stuff indeed there from Dan Murphy. Next out the hat is the Ferrari team. Of course, Ferrari didn't have a very good joint constructors campaign at all last season. I think they was near the bottom of the table, unfortunately. We've already mentioned about their hoodoo in ALR, who is going to be driving for the famous prancing horse, while Roscoe is staying with the Ferrari team. Of course, he has got one Grand Prix win last season, and I think he's the second most experienced driver on the grid with 27 starts to his name, Roscoe. And he's also got 2 podiums to his name as well. So Roscoe is going to be one of the favourites in my humble opinion. Next out, it is going to be Theo. It could have been Camaro there. That would have been the two most experienced drivers on the grid in the Ferrari. Theo and Roscoe. I got a funny feeling that Theo is going to be a very strong candidate this season.
Yeah, I think both drivers there got a win in the last season, in season 3. So probably looking to build on that and maybe even push for a top 3 spot in season 4.
Yeah, that's I've got to say, I think that I'll be surprised if any one of those drivers that don't get promoted to silver at the end of the season. But remember, it is a new game, of course. I keep forgetting about that because it really does shake things up, doesn't it? Which we'll talk more about that a bit later on in the show. Next out is the Mercedes team, isn't it? Of course, who is going to be driving for the world domination car with the real world Formula One. Of course, ALR, a bit like Ferrari, they're not really had the success, have they? First out of the hat is Crystal Maze. I think that Crystal Maze has definitely got the pace. He seems to be a bit struggles with the consistency at times last season, Crystal Mazes. But I think if he can get that consistency nipped in the bud, he could be a very dominant driver. Remember, he got pole position and the race win in the British Grand Prix, the first race of the season last season in bronze. Lewis Williams there, he's a very quick cookie as well. He was very strong in the British Grand Prix as well. Alex, Mercedes looking good.
Yeah, Crystal Maze there. Well, both drivers, I think Lewis as well, will probably say that they do need to improve on their consistency. Consistency is key in terms of championships. It's a long championship now, so you need to make sure that consistency is there to get the points. So yeah, looking forward to those guys making their improvements there and then going on for challenging for the title.
Indeed, and it is a long season this season, isn't it? We're going to have 20 races at the very least in a bronze, and of course we only had 11 last season, and that does make a huge difference. There is a lot of points up to play for. I'm not going to say how many because unfortunately I'm not very quick at maths, and I should have planned before I said about that. Who is going to be who is next off the wheel? Then we've got Vintage, who's next. I think Vintage, unfortunately, he had a great 4th position, didn't he? He had a great 6th position. Vintage did, and but unfortunately that was the only point scoring finish he had last season. Vintage did in his 9 starts, and he finished 16th in the World Championship. Who is going to be driving alongside Vintage? It is going to be Irvine, who finished runner-up in COBALT last season. Goodness me, I'm glad that wheel stopped there because I was going down a dark alley there. Vintage and Irvine for the Red Bull team now.
Yeah, speaking of consistency, I think you got 2 there. I know Vintage was a bit unlucky in last season, but I think he'll come through in this game as well, and he's one of the drivers who's improved massively, so looking forward to seeing what he can do with Red Bull. And Irvine, we know he's got the pace, so he'll be looking to carry that on into bronze.
Indeed, yes. So looking forward to that as well. I'm glad the wheel stopped on Irvine there because there is we chatting away to Irvine, and yeah, it was very lucky. It could have been Ayrton there, couldn't it? Next up is the McLaren team, of course, from Woking there. Of course, the papaya McLaren or the orange McLaren. I like the word papaya. Ted Kravitz said it earlier on when I was watching No Notebook, so that's why it stuck in my head. And Diashi, wow, I must say that he is. I'm changing my favourites as we go along here, and it's appalling all in punditry, isn't it? 20 Grand Prix starts there for Diashi. He's had a Grand Prix win. He's had 3 pole positions. He really loves qualifying, doesn't he, Diashi? He was very unlucky. I think one race in Mexico, I think he damaged his wing, which otherwise could have been potentially a second Grand Prix win. And Ayrton there, who's dropping from silver down into bronze. He is a Grand Prix winner in silver, and he is going to be a consistent customer. McLaren, I think I've changed my pick, Alex.
Yeah, Diashi, we know, has got the pace to get some wins under his belt, and he's proved that in bronze last season as well, when he came in a bit late. Ayrton, dropping down, of course, got that win in Italy last season for silver, so we'll be looking to build on that, get some good points for McLaren.
And we got 2 more teams left. We've got 4 drivers then who are at the moment seatless, but that won't be for much longer then, as they are going to be holding their breath, and they're going to be wondering what cars they're going to go with. It's one of the 2 A's. It's got one of the 2 Alphas. It's going to be Alfa Romeo or AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri in their 2nd season in Formula on the Formula 1 game. Then I think this will be their 3rd season in ALR. Swan Shanks then is the first driver then coming off the wheel as well. Swan Shanks is then, as we already mentioned there, he only had 3 starts in that last season, didn't he? But I'm looking forward to seeing Swan Shanks in a full season, because I think he's got some untapped potential, hasn't he? And who will be driving alongside Swan Shanks? It's going to be the 2 S's there. It's also Shatters in there as well. A 3-time podium sitter there with 66 points there. He's been at 3rd position there. Wow, Alex, pretty impressive.
Yeah, Shadows and Swan Shanks, if I can get my S's right, are a consistent lineup. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what these guys can do in season 4. I think Shadows there, probably the faster of the 2 drivers, but I think consistency is key, and having Swan Shanks back will help boost the AlphaTauri point scoring, I think.
And the last team on the list then is the Alfa Romeo team now. I got to say, I feel like I keep changing my opinions about the constructors and all that kind of stuff, which I get too excited there. Because the drivers are so evenly matched there. You can't really, you can't pick a winner, especially on this new game then. We haven't even spoken much about the new game, have we? It's just been so incredible the way we were starting off. Well, it would be close, but we know that this is going to be the Alfa Romeo team. Camera racer there, he is the most experienced driver in ALR Bronze, with 30 Grand Prix starts, 1 Grand Prix win, 3 podiums as well. Unfortunately, he has quite a high DNF rate there, Camera Racers. Hopefully he can nip that in the bud. And we've also got Billet there as well then. Alex?
Yeah, again, Camaro Racer got the pace. We've seen that in quite a few races in bronze over the seasons. And Balint dropping down from silver as well. Like I said, had a bit of an unlucky season in silver, so we'll be looking to bounce back as well. So yeah, looking to see Alfa Romeo getting up there and scoring some good points. Camaro Racer maybe leading the way in terms of the championship.
And there is the 10 teams then lining up and raring to go then. Who are you going to be picking then to be the fourth ever bronze world champion? Remember, last season's world champion, Dylan, was all about consistency, wasn't it? But this is a new game this season. It's not only a new game in terms of the game itself, but it's also a new game in terms of the Grand Prix as well, with 20 now. Dylan there, who only had 1 Grand Prix win, but his podiums was absolutely second to none there. I think he was on the podium more often than not, wasn't he? I think he had like 9 podiums, something like that last season. Now we're on to silver as well. And of course, so we're just, so this is silver's 4th season as well. But of course, we've had a lot more Grand Prix in silver. I think this would be the 65th Grand Prix in silver's career in Bahrain, Alex. Goodness me, it only feels like yesterday that we started silver. It's been I've got to say, it's been an incredible journey.
Yeah, I think silver, it's grown and grown as the league's gone on, and it's become one of the closest leagues in terms of the driver pool. And I think even this season it's going to be much closer with the guys who've come down from gold, the guys who've come up from bronze as well. So I think it's going to be really exciting to watch silver this season. I think the calendar is going to put in a few shockers in there as well. So yeah, it would be nice to see everyone putting in a good performance, carrying on the excellent form from the whole grid in season 3 as well.
I remember saying a stat, which is probably wrong, but I remember saying a stat that we had 9 Grand Prix winners or something like that in silver last season. That's almost half the grid. That's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it just basically highlights your point there, Alex, about how incredible the driver pool is there. At the end there, Troy did kind of run amok in the end there. I think he won 12 Grand Prix, which is the most Grand Prix wins in silver history. However, we must stress though that it really only started to run away with of it towards the end there. He really was unleashed after winning that world championship. But up until that point there, it was very much he was good at one Pacific track. Then, do you see anyone running away with the championship this season? If you do, who do you think is going to be very much up there?
I'd have to say a shout for one of the guys who's been in silver in the last few seasons, consistently building up his pace, and I say Curly Red. I think he's got the ability, and he's got the racing performance that we know that he's got in terms of the points that he's scored over time. He obviously came up from bronze as well before, and I think he's put in a good performance in silver last season. So yeah, I'm looking to see him progress. I think he's going to have the pace. He's going to put in some hours on the practice sessions, and we'll see that pay off.
Yeah, Curly, I think that Curly's a driver that likes to tinker with his car, isn't he? Very much like a Michael Schumacher-esque kind of driver, isn't he? Where he just likes the car to be exactly right. Or a Niki Lauda-esque driver. I think Niki Lauda used to get, and I think there was the film Rush, wasn't it? Where he was just tinkering with the car, wasn't he, to get it right. And that is what Curly does there. He really, he's very much does love tinkering with the car and getting the setups absolutely to his liking. And Kimi Räikkönen used to be like that in the McLaren team as well, when especially in his strong years of 2005. We've only got 4 debutants on the grid for silver this season. They are Reflections, Marski, Dylan, the bronze world champion, and also Marky as well there. So 4 drivers then that are going to be making their debut in silver this season. Everyone else then is as you were, as they've either come down from gold then, like V Todd then. V Todd, of course, I think he did a very good job in gold then, but he does make a return back to silver this season as well. And of course, he is very much a fastest up specialist, isn't he? He's got 3 fastest ups to his name in his silver career. We just seen Cirrus Mushroom there, and we shout out to Cirrus Mushroom. He has not missed a silver Grand Prix in his entire career in silver, which is that's absolutely good commitment indeed. That's mega stuff. Really hats off there to Cirrus Mission. Now I completely forgot what I was talking about then. Goodness me. The drivers coming up then for bronze then, Alex. So we got Dylan, we have Marski and Reflections there. 3 drivers that I must say are so consistent week in, week out. And I think that's one of the most crucial skills you can have as an F1 driver. Who are you looking out for out of those 3 drivers?
Well, hands down, the consistency is key, and those 3 drivers proved it, and that's how they got promoted from bronze last season. So if they keep up that form, then there's no doubt they'll be getting some good points in silver this season, and maybe even going further, looking up to gold. So I'd have to say Dylan has put in fantastic performances, like you said, kept it cleanest in bronze last season, and obviously got the championship win. Marski there is, I think, underrated. I think he's got some pace, which he didn't show in bronze actually last season. But I think there's more potential in there from Marski, and maybe on the new game that can come out as well. But yeah, Reflection got my vote because he's a new driver to ALR. Only joined for bronze as well last season, and only had a short season, of course, with the 11 races. So yeah, I'm going to have to say Reflection, just because I want him to do well, and I think that his consistency and his ability and his on track sort of etiquette is fantastic, as well as his off track etiquette as well, to be fair. So yeah, I'm looking to see Reflection do well as well.
And yeah, I definitely agree with all those comments as well. Then yes, and I got to say that we have a lot of very good on track and off track etiquette from every driver indeed. Then, but yes, I definitely agree with that statement there. And just looking at the pool of drivers, then no driver in this silver draw has got more than 1 Grand Prix win. We have 4 Grand Prix winners in this silver draw. That is New Potato, the former and first ever bronze world champion. We have 2 bronze champions now in silver. That's great, isn't it? We have Welsh Malinado, who won that Grand Prix in Canada. We have Farr, who won the Grand Prix in the British Grand Prix. That was his first Grand Prix win in over a year in ALR. Fantastic. And Cirrus Mushroom winning the Japanese Grand Prix in that horrifically damp, wet Suzuka Grand Prix. Yes, those 4 drivers are the only drivers that have ever won in ALR Silver. We have the most successful driver in ALR Silver now in this current pool is New Potato with 11 podiums to his name then, and 3 fastest laps as well. But he has has 309 points then to his name now. So he's the most point scorer in all of these crop of drivers then. Gunnar there, who I think he's still the most race driver in ALR history there. He's participated in every single league imaginable, as the Gunnar. So he's at Mr. ALR Gunnar is. He's never scored a point now in ALR Silver yet then. So he wants to be putting that wrong right, doesn't he? But of course, I'm being very unfair there to Gunnar, as he's only ever had 12 starts in Silver, and I think that a lot of them was kind of more of I think it was a reserve role really. And Marky, who's making a full-blown debut in Silver as well, as I don't think he's raced in any races in ALR. Now let's get on with the draw, shall we then, as we've just taken a look at the drivers' credentials, their stats, and who could do what then. But stats don't mean nothing. It's all about what you could do on the day. First team out of the hat is the Red Bull Racing Honda team then. So that is the first of 10 teams then we got a draw in Silver. And who is going to be the two drivers then driving for the Milton Keynes outfit then, as the wheel is stopping, and the first driver out of the hat then, it is going to be is Bradfield. Goodness me, I thought that was Farfen. Gosh, how close is that arrow? Oh my word there. So Bradfield is the first driver out the hat then. So who is going to be driving alongside Bradfield then for the season? Bradfield's best race finish was at fifth, wasn't it, for Bradfield? A very consistent driver, 14th in the World Championship last season. And his teammate is going to be Jake the Slayer, and I think he's going to be over the moon with that pick there. Jake the Slayer, he had a second position last season as well. He finished 15th there. Alex, I think Bradfield and Jake there, they were quite close, I think. Are they going to be happy with that pairing?
They were certainly quite close last season on track, so it'll be very difficult to differentiate them on pace. Looking to see if they can get their heads down, get consistent races, and get some good points for Team Red Bull.
And then next team off the wheel then is the Alpine team then as well. So we have got we've got 18 drivers then. This will be getting their fingers crossed and that they want the Alpine team then. Of course, that is one of the new teams, isn't it there, which I've mentioned twice already, but I'm so excited for this season. I'm so excited to see the Alpine and the Aston Martin cars on circuit, along with the other eight teams then. First team out of the hat is TK. TK, of course, had a pole position in that incredible Monaco Grand Prix. Fantastic, wasn't it, for TK? He's had 2 podiums as well to his name. He finished 10th in the World Championship last season. A second best finish of second there, so he wants to go one better and get a Grand Prix win. FIFA Beefy, a driver that has been so close on occasions there to possibly win. He should have won in China last season, shouldn't he? 6 podiums to his name as well. TK and FIFA, that's quite a consistent, solid lineup there.
Yeah, I think both of them have got pace to win the races, rather put it that way. They got the race pace to get the points as well. But I think maybe they just need to improve on some areas of consistency in racecraft just to make sure that they can get that further step.
Indeed, then, because I think that I would actually bet I might bet a cheeky 50p on one of those drivers getting their first win this season. Aston Martin, then, of course, said it's next out of the hat as well. Then, so both the new teams that have now been selected. Then, who is going to be driving then for the British Racing Green? And goodness me, and it's going to be Gunnar. Oh, he's going to love that, isn't he? So Gunnar is driving the Aston Martin then for this season. His best finish in silver is only 12th, so he'd like to get some points on the board then for his silver career. Gunnar there, who of course unfortunately finished 20th in gold last season, but fair play to Gunnar there for sticking at it. Marquis, of course, our full-blown debut in silver there. So Marquis, of course, I don't know much about Marquis, but I'm really interested to see how that team progresses. And Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, will be a lineup that will be a growing lineup. One will come into the first few races, maybe have to take some time to adapt. But looking forward to seeing Gunnar, of course, coming down from gold, and Marky just introduced to ALR as the first race in Bahrain, of course, as well. So it'll be an interesting lineup, that will.
Indeed, of course, I look forward to seeing Marky in action for the first time ever in ALR, as Alex said, in Bahrain, and not Australia. I've got to get used to that, goodness me. Of course, we had started in Bahrain before in the past in Formula 1 history, I think 2006 and 2010, if I'm not very much mistaken. And of course, this season as well, 2021. Who's next out of the hat then? Well, I've been yabbing on about all kinds of nonsense. And young Tommy, I think he really burst onto the scene last season, didn't he, young Tommy? He's already got a podium him in his very young career. He's only had 13 at race starts there. Finished 16th last season, young Tommy did. But I feel that young Tommy is going to be a driver that you can really watch grow this season. And the bronze world champion, we all know about this man's credentials there. And wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, great lineup there for AlphaTauri. I think young Tommy will kick on from where he left off in silver, and he was starting to get there, getting some good points. So we'll carry on now for this season. And Dylan, of course, will bring his pace up from bronze and crack on and maybe get some good points for AlphaTauri in silver season 4.
I've got to say that's a cracking lineup that is, and that is a lineup full of potential. I would surmise then. McLaren team in the next, and the McLaren Mercedes team then is going to be the next team then that we're going to be drawing from the wheel as we're spinning it around once again. Then and who is going to be selected then? BP, and I think BP made his debut back in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He's on 99 career points there. He has never won a Grand Prix, BP, which I find absolutely astounding there because I must say he has in the past he's had very quick he's very quick, isn't he, but he just hasn't settled in too well in the world of ALR just yet. And Wilson there, he had a very strong season, didn't he, in the I think in season 2. I think he finished 5th in the end, didn't he? Wilson did. He didn't have he was an up and down season last season there, but the McLaren team there again there, I keep saying this, but there's a lot of potential there, Alex, isn't there?
Yeah, super strong team. I think BP was unlucky not to get a couple of wins even last season, so we'll look to carry on. And Jake Wilson, we know, the consistent king. I think he'll be able to get some good points for McLaren next season as well.
Yeah, Wilson is one driver that doesn't really need qualifying, does he? He seems to absolutely fly in the race there. As more often than not, he's around the 11th to 15th place, but he always seems to be hovering in the top end of the points. Then next out is the Haas team. Then I think Haas was picked twice in a row twice in a row in the last 2 draws, but this time it's smack bang in the middle. Then and the first team off the wheel then is it's Farf. Of course, we know how good Farf is, or sometimes how not so good Farf is a Farf, the gold admin as well. I do josh with Farf. I love having a bit of banter. Of course, he won his first Grand Prix in well over a year in the British Grand Prix last season there. And Serious Mushroom. Oh, goodness gracious me then. Now, that is a strong lineup if I've ever surmised there. And that is 2 drivers then that have won a race there in silver. That is going to be a rare thing to say this season, Alex.
Yeah, I think if Farf can get his act together, he can get some good points for Team Haas. And Serious Mushroom, or Serious Mushroom as we've seen there, but he'll be able to crack on with his consistent performances as we've always seen from him from every race in ALR Silver since it began.
Yeah, that's of course, Serious Mushroom has never missed a Grand Prix, and so I've said it before, but it's such a cool start. I'm going to keep repeating it until eventually he misses a race, or if he ever does miss a race. Serious Mushroom, absolutely love that kind of stuff. Serious Mushroom now had an E at the end there, didn't he? As Alex said, which that tickled me a bit there. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? Next out of the hat then is V Todd. V Todd finished 4th in the World Championship. 5th in the World Championship in season 2, I think, or I think it was 4th actually. My brain's getting a bit fuzzy now. But he has had 4 podiums. Vitod has, and he's had 2 driver of the day performances as well, and 40 Grand Prix starts. And alongside him is Curly Red there, and that is one of Alex's pick there for silver this season there. And wow, the Mercedes team, I think that they might have domination like in the real world of Formula 1 there.
I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to call it Constructors Champions there.
Blimey, that is a very brave man. Then you've heard it here first, folks. So and I didn't say it either, by the way. If anyone gets on my case during the streams, but yeah, I do agree with you. That is a fantastic team, isn't it? Oh my goodness me! If Mercedes are not at first or second in the constructors, I'll be absolutely astounded. Alfa Romeo are next off the wheel, and let's see then who is going to be driving for the Alfa Romeo team. Look at those names still on that wheel, and all those names, in my opinion, are more than capable of winning a Grand Prix, more than capable of getting themselves into gold for next season. And Steve is the first driver out of the hat then. He finished 17th last season, Steve did, but he had a bit of an up and down season, Steve did. I think that it was very unlucky. Another one of those drivers then that seems they couldn't get the rub of the green, could they? And Marvski as well, of course, coming up from the bronze category there. If you go off form now, that might be a team in the midfield then, but of course you can't always go off form in these incidents, can you?
No, I think Steve had a couple of inconsistent races and a bit of bad luck outside of F1, outside of the game last season. So that's the reason I think why his form dropped off, and hopefully he can bounce back for season 4. And Marsky bringing his consistency back into silver, back from bronze, will be able to crack on and get some good points. I'm looking forward to seeing what Alfa Romeo can do there.
Yes, and of course, I always I think in my mind that there's a gap in terms of skill between silver and bronze, and there probably is, but it's so minute. It's incredibly close, these leagues are, and I gotta say it's going to be great, isn't it? And of course, I'm really looking forward to silver personally, because you just can't call it. I absolutely love it. Reflections there, of course, making his move from bronze to silver as well, and as I just mentioned, I don't think the jump's going to be that big at all then. So he's going to be driving in the beautiful Scuderia Ferrari. And who is going to be alongside Marsky then for this season? And it is going to be Gordo as well. And I think that Gordo is going to be a very strong candidate for the season. He should have won 2 Grand Prix last season if it wasn't for penalties at the end of those Grand Prix there. Alex?
Yeah, Gordo, massive improvement from him last season. We saw him sort of jump up and really take the fight to the guys at the top. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do. In Reflection, I think, can build on his great performances from bronze and do the same even. So looking forward to seeing what Ferrari can bring in season 4.
Yeah, indeed. Then, and of course, the famous Ferrari name. We've got 2 very capable drivers, haven't they? And last but not least is the Williams team as well. Now then, as we're just spinning that wheel, and let's see then. Well, we've only got 2 drivers then to choose from here then, and one of the drivers is the first ever bronze world champion, and that is Nude Potato then. Nude Potato then, who's driving the Williams team, and second there on the wheel is going to be Welsh Maldonado, of course. So another 2 teams there with dual Grand Prix winners there, Alex.
Yeah, 2 fast drivers, probably looking to build on their last season. I think there was inconsistency from both of them last season. So yeah, looking to fix that, make it a bit more interesting for themselves, and then battle on, get some more points.
I think that that team is. We was talking about Mercedes earlier on, but I'm changing my mind again now. So I think the Haas, Williams, and Mercedes there are 3 teams at the very least that are going to be right at the top of the standings. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I think there's going to be some surprises from pretty much all the other teams as well, to be honest. But yeah, looking forward to season 4 of Silver, because like I said, it was so close last season. It's only going to carry on in season 4, and it's going to get even closer, it looks like, as well.
And the final draw is gold there. And we start off with the double world champion, Emerson. 30 Grand Prix wins, 51 podiums. This man is a record breaker, isn't he? He absolutely dominated the F1 2020 game, didn't he? He was a runner-up twice in the F1 2019 season. And of course, they've also got the silver world champion, Troy, as well. We start off quite strong in gold there, Alex. But your opinion there of Emerson there, I'm running out of adjectives, verbs, and all that kind of stuff. Then, in terms of describing the man, then he's absolutely been fantastic in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt he's the best driver in ALR. So we need someone to take the fight to him, really. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic driver. The 2 championships that he's won, he's fully deserved them, of course. Getting the most wins and just dominating the races in pretty much every race. Even in races where he's not done so well, he's still got podiums, got good points. And that's where the consistency is key, and that's why you see him winning so many titles. And I think that's what Troye sort of copied in silver last season as well. And the reason why he won the title in silver and is also now racing in gold is that he copied that consistency, kept the races clean, controlled the races. He had the pace, so he just had to make sure that he crossed the line in first. And that's what both those guys have done so well. And they've finished the races, whether they finish in the top points or whether they just get a point to help them in that championship, it keeps adding up, and that's what both of them have done so well. They've had bad races, of course, but they've bounced back, and that's why they're champions. So yeah, looking forward to seeing Emerson take the fight again to everyone in gold, of course, for his 3rd season, looking to win his 3rd title straight or back to back. And I'm looking forward to seeing Troy battling with the big guns as well, coming up from silver.
I must say, I don't, no disrespect to Emerson, I think he's been fantastic. He's the lowest position he's ever finished in the ALR Gold is second, but I would love to see someone really take the fight to him this season. And we're talking of fight, we have got 3 champions on the grid then this season. Well, no, we've got 4 actually, goodness me. Of course, there we've got the 2 silver champions of Gurman and Troy. So I'm looking forward to seeing Gurman doing his second season in gold there. Troy, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's doing his first full season in gold. And remember, we got Nigel returning back to action as well from gold, the first ever ALR world champion. He was very strong towards the end of last season in silver. He really made the second half of the season, he was fantastic. I think he was the second highest point scorer in the silver category. And of course, there you have Emerson as well, but if anyone can who can knock him off his perch there. This season, I believe we have 6 Grand Prix winners there on the grid as well. Of course, we have Gurman there, 4 Grand Prix wins last season, fantastic season. Nigel, he's had 7 Grand Prix wins to his career. We've had Infamous Pillars, who won the last race in Abu Dhabi, which I'm going to talk to Alex about that in a minute. We got Total Peas there with a 4 Grand Prix wins, and of course Jonathan, also a 2-time Grand Prix winner as well in gold there. Alex, Infamous Pillars won the last Grand Prix of the season in Abu Dhabi. Is that going to make a difference going on into this season now? Because remember, Rosberg won the last couple of races in 2015. He won the championship. Am I thinking about this completely wrong though? Because it's a new game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the new game will play a factor in that, of course. The result itself speaks for itself, and he will look to carry that forward into the new game as well, no doubt. But yeah, it'll be a bit different, getting used to the new game. Of course, we've all been familiar with the 2020 game, having played 2 seasons on it as well. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult to adapt so quickly into Bahrain for the 2021 game. But we shall see how it goes. I'm pretty sure there's going to be quite a lot of drivers who are going to be looking at that top spot, including Pillars, looking to fight for the wins and fight for the championship and battle Emerson.
Talking to Pillars, I must apologise. I've put it down his debut is Vietnam. His debut is in France. So yes, I can already hear him in the comments now, giving me some jip there. But yes, his debut was back in the French Grand Prix, season 2. Gamer, of course, there season 3, I should say. Gamer there, of course, is a full-blown debut for Gamer there, because he's been in ALR for quite a long period of time, but he's never raced in gold there. He had such a strong start to the season last season, and the back end of the season before Gamer did. I think he was on a run of like 5 or 6 Grand Prix wins. He was on a fantastic start. How do you think these silver drivers that are coming up into gold, then how do you think they're going to fare this season?
I think pace-wise, all of them have got the pace to battle for the points. I think we've seen that. I think Troy did race in Mexico last season for gold, just as a sort of trial race, put it that way. And we know Nigel's got the pace to race in gold as well. So I think Gamer has been there, and he's definitely had the pace in comparison from silver, what he can translate that into gold. So yeah, looking forward to watching all 3 of the guys coming up from silver. I think they're all put in great performances. They're all 3 of them, are all clean, consistent drivers as well. So I think it's only going to help them in gold get some good points under their belt.
I know. Just as before we go into the draw, who are you looking up for personally from gold?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think I'm going to go with a debutant, well, not a debutant, a reserve who's come in, and I'm going to go Danger Times.
You know what? I'm not going to argue that, because Danger Times is you've heard me in commentary of how much I love Danger Times. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? 5 Grand Prix starts, 48 points to his name already. He's had 3 podiums in those 5 starts. Absolutely mega stuff deep there, and he just seems to keep coming at you. Really, it's like one of those horror films, isn't it? Where if anyone's ever watched Jason, where he keeps catching up on you. He walks slow, but he just keeps catching up on you. I would never say that Danger Times is slow, but he just keeps coming at you, don't he? Goodness me. Jonathan, the British Italian driver there, of course, he's a seasoned veteran in ALR now. With 81 Grand Prix starts, he's got the most starts in ALR history from gold's point of view. And of course, he 1 start behind him is actually Emerson as well. So Jonathan there, quite a seasoned veteran in ALR as well. Of course, unfortunately, last season had a bit of a stop-start season. He would like to get back into winning ways. He hasn't had a last Grand Prix win. I think it was back in season 2 there for Jonathan. So hoping to get himself back on top step of the podium now. And there's Gamer making he's the only driver in the gold this season, which is making his full debut as well. And here we are. We're on to to the draw then, and I am looking forward to this one there. I am very much so. My hands are rubbing with glee there. This is going to be great. And the first team out of the hat then, or off the wheel, so we should just get a hat, shouldn't we? It's the Alfa Romeo team now. Of course, the Italian team, it's got a rich history in motorsport, hasn't it? 20 drivers are on our gold wheel, and who is going to be the first team out, the first driver out the hat, and it's his infamous Pillars there. Pillars there, who is going to be having his 10th Grand Prix start in his ALR career in Bahrain in just under a week's time now, isn't it? As the countdown has already started, as we've already got 30 drivers drawn. No, we haven't got 60 drivers drawn. And second driver out is Chaz as well, or Chazadin. He's had 3 Grand Prix starts. He's been on the podium once in his career as well, but he's shown in Japan about his pace, Alex.
Yeah, if that's not a fast lineup, I don't know what's wrong with you. I think they both got the incredible pace, both looking to crack on from their excellent performances at the end of Gold last season. Chaz coming in from a reserve spot as well, so looking to show what he's worth, and great lineup for Alfa Romeo.
That's a very good lineup there from Alfa Romeo. Really is indeed. Then I think they're already top of my tree or my prediction list. Anyway, next out of the off the wheel then is the McLaren Mercedes team. Then McLaren there, I think they had an okayish season last season, didn't they? They finished 5th, which I was quite disappointed with, to be honest, because I thought the McLaren had a strong lineup. But in the McLaren, Gurman, who, yes, it is landed on Gurman, who has spent his most of his entire ALR life in the Haas team. While he's got a change of scenery this time, he is now driving in the McLaren team, of course, with 4 Grand Prix wins to his name, and he'll be taking his 20th Grand Prix start in Bahrain. And oh goodness gracious me, then we got 2 Grand Prix winners then in the same team, and that's a McLaren team. That is exactly what McLaren would have wanted there, Alex.
Yeah, fantastic lineup. Gurman has got the pace. I think he's going to be one of the ones rivaling Emerson for some wins and some good points. And I think Nigel coming up can look for some consistency in Gold as well this season, and really take it to them, and hope that they can push McLaren up the order of constructors.
Yeah, I've got to say that's a cracking lineup there from McLaren team. That's 11 Grand Prix wins in total between those 2 drivers. That's pretty impressive indeed. Then up next is the Alpine team. Then, of course, formerly known as Renault. Renault, remember, won. I think they won. 3 constructors in their 5 seasons in ALR Gold. Then that's over a 50% strike rate. So if Renault never come back into ALR again, then goodness me, their success rate is going to be ridiculous. It's well over 60%. Mr. Elite then, who finished third in the World Championship back in season 4. Mr. Elite was one half of that Renault winning combination, wasn't he? Of course, Mr. Elite has got some credentials there of really producing some fine racing from within the team then. And Cowie, who was driving the Haas team last season, he is driving the Alpine team this season, and best position of 4th there for Cowie, Alex.
Yeah, I think both drivers that have got the consistency there. Maybe a bit unfortunate in some races, but both of them can put the power down and get some good points for Team Alpine. And I think it'll be an exciting driver lineup for season 6.
I think that's going to be that's a very interesting lineup, that isn't it? As we're getting on to the Aston Martin team now, just going back to the Alpine team, that's a very interesting lineup. I think that's going to be one that is good. I'm going to be keeping my eye on, I think, throughout the season, and I'm sure that a lot of you fans at home would definitely be interested. Of course, we do have a lot of Mr. Elite and Cowie fans out there, so they're always float in and out the comments on the streams as well. Next out of the hat is Gamer. Then this is our Gamer's now started a race in Gold before then, so let's see what he can do then. So he's starting with a debut team as well then. So it's a debut driver for the Aston Martin, who are making their debut in Bahrain in just under a week's time, of course then. And who is going to... and it's Jonathan Cox then, and that's exactly what the Aston Martin team wanted. Of course, they wanted a winning driver. Jonathan, who's got the 2nd most highest pole positions in ALR Gold, Alex.
Yeah, well, I'm looking to see John bounce back. He had a bit of a bad season, or a couple of bad seasons in 2020 on the game, but looking to see if he can recover his 2019 form, of course, which was absolutely excellent. And Gamer, just excited to see what he can do in Gold. It'd be fantastic to see a new debutant in Gold season 6.
That's a very good balance, the Aston Martin team we've got there. Very good stuff indeed there. As I would say that the gamer is an experience there, which is a bit unfair, really, because he's been very good in the silver, hasn't he? But of course, as we mentioned there, the first time that he is driving in gold there. The Ferrari team is up next, one of the most successful teams in history of Formula One. And oh, goodness me, it is the world champion. It's Emerson, who's off the wheel there. Goodness gracious me. And I've said throughout the broadcast that Ferrari have had a really appalling luck in terms of in the world of ALR, but their luck might be able to change then. Of course, the double world champion, and they've got the silver world champion as well, Alex. My goodness me, I gotta say, I don't feel that team's unbeatable, is it?
Fantastic lineup. Unfortunately, Emerson couldn't be in the Renault this time, purely because it isn't in the game. But yeah, what a lineup that is. Two champions from last season, Emerson from gold and Troye from silver. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic race and fantastic season for Ferrari.
Ferrari, of course, there's a lot of Ferrari ex-bosses atop of the Formula 1 food chain these days. I'm wondering if they got this wheel rigged there. That's incredible, isn't it? Troye and Emerson, that is magnificent. I'm loving that lineup. Of course, their championships are never won on paper, are they? Haas team of the team out next then. Of course, we move on swiftly with the draw then. As we're next first out is Equals then. I've beat the second half of the season for Equals. Really, he made me sit up and take notice there for Equals. Very impressive indeed there. He scored. He's in 34 starts there, 5th position as well. There was 76 points total to his name there. Equals a very impressive run of points indeed. Then and next out is Tango as well. I think it's the most unluckiest driver on the grid last season, Alex, with all the technical gremlins he had.
Yeah, I think Equals, just going back to your first driver, is there. He has been a very consistent driver under the radar and can get some good points for Team Haas. And Tango, if he can just fix the blue screen issue that the game kept on giving him, thanks to his hard drive, he will be winning races hands down. So yeah, hopefully Tango can get his hard drive fixed and be up there as well for season 6.
Yeah, indeed. I think Tango could have and should have won a couple of Grand Prix last season, definitely. And Equals as well. He was a points collector for the Mercedes team towards the end of last season. And we just carry on then with the draw then. Goodness me, it's going thick and fast though, isn't it? As we're just spinning the wheel. And who is next off of the wheel? It is Liam Yeh, who I think he finished 6th in the World Championship last season, didn't he, Liam Yeh? Remember, he got promoted from silver last year. I keep forgetting that, but Liam just absolutely slotted into gold like a glove, didn't he? 6th in the end there in the World Championship. A very strong performance there from the Mercedes team. He did tail off a bit towards the end of last season. And Total Pease there, a 4-time Grand Prix winner. And of course, he would be making his 30th appearance there in ALR in Bahrain in a week's time there for the Mercedes team, Alex.
Yeah, what a lineup. I think Liam, yeah, sticking with Mercedes from same as last season. Total Pease coming in to put a rocket up the Mercedes car and really get going and get some good points. So yeah, fantastic lineup, and looking forward to seeing what they can both do in this season.
I must say, all the teams so far, they're ridiculously overpowered, aren't they? Goodness me. I'm glad I don't race in the ALR Gold. I'm glad I don't race in the ALR at all these days. It was too much for me. It was too much there. As we're now onto the Williams team, which personally, I love the livery of the Williams team there. And I've got, of course, I do have a soft spot for the Williams team after I drove for him for about a couple of races last season. And Danger Times there, that was one of Alex's picks there, wasn't it? And yes, I do not disagree with that whatsoever. Debut back in the Japanese Grand Prix with 3 podiums to his name already. Fantastic for Danger Times there. I'm happy that he's on the grid as a 4-time driver. And alongside Danger Times is William there, very much an underperformer in ALR. Remember in his debut, he got pole position in the Belgian Grand Prix back in season 2. So he seems to just underperform there. But that lineup there for you, Alex, what do you reckon?
Well, I remember that Belgian race in season 2 very well, being second on the grid then. But yeah, Willem needs to improve his consistency. I think he's definitely got pace and can bring that onto this game as well. And hopefully he gets a bit more luck in this game as well. But Danger Times there, I think definitely looking to get some good podiums, get some points and take some wins off of Emerson as well.
Indeed, yeah, and I think that Danger Times is going to be very dangerous for Emerson as well. Pun intended, and the puns will just get worse and worse as they go on. So we're on to the Red Bull lineup now. As we're spinning that wheel once again then, and who is going to be next off of the board then? And it is Dynamo Dan then, if the wheel stops it. It is Dynamo Dan then. Dynamo Dan, I think he was very unlucky in Mexico, I recall, and he's had his 6th finish here, Dynamo Dan, I said. So on his best days, Dynamo Dan is fantastic, isn't he? He was robbed, I think, in Mexico because he had a cracking strategy. Alongside him is Diego then, best finish of fourth there for the Red Bull team. Red Bull did struggle last season. Do you think that lineup will improve their chances, Alex?
I think they're both good drivers, both consistent drivers, and I think they can get their heads down and get on with trying to get into the points this season. I think they might have difficulties, but I'd see them improving from last season and taking the fight to the rest of the teams. So yeah, looking forward to seeing them race.
And at last but no means least, it is the AlphaTauri team. And of course, we shouldn't really spin the wheel, should we? But I love the wheel, so I'm going to spin it anyway. So it's the AlphaTauri team then. It's the last off the wheel. And of course, we've got 2 more drivers then. Unfortunately, my memory's not like it used to be. I've turned 32 recently. It is Lost Souls and Cartboy. Alex, that lineup's pretty immense, really, isn't it? I know we haven't selected them yet, then. But what's your take on those 2, Cartboy and Lost Souls?
Yeah, Cartboy, I think, absolutely smashed it last season, and since he came in, I believe he came in sort of for the last 2 or 3 races of season 4 in gold, and just took the fight straight to Emerson as well. I think he got 2nd place in his 2nd or 3rd race as a reserve, and we jumped into the full-time seat in season 5 last season, of course. In gold, and absolutely smashed it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him carry on his performances, maybe make small improvements to get further up the order, maybe take the wins and start getting more consistent results. Lost Souls there needs to improve on his consistency, definitely. He's had quite a lot of DNFs, but if he can, he's definitely a race winner in my book as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for being alongside me tonight, Alex, and for this drive draw. And that is it. 4 draws. Brilliant stuff indeed then. And, that has set the scene as it were in Bahrain. And that is going to be starting off the World Championship then. Season 6 of ALR. Who is going to challenge Emerson then and knock him off his perch then? We're going to have to find out this time next Sunday in Bahrain under the lights.